All right, it's sometime in the evening. It's 8:30. I've been working since I got back. Got some progress. I'll talk about that in a second. Sun is setting. I still gotta get showered, get changed, and then get to bed. Get up early tomorrow. I'm gonna get a bit more work done today. Um, but I wanted to talk about something that I think could be interesting. So yesterday, I was working on my DevSlopes final exam, and I'd been working on it for 2 days. I kept failing. I was getting super pissed. I thought it was gonna like kind of go by like that, and I kept making small mistakes. It's a very it's like a multiple choice exam that's like 137 or 36 questions, and they mix up the questions a bit each time, but not really that much. And you have to get 90% to pass. And I just kept like I got 82 the first time, then I got 86, and they're all very like random, obscure questions. So there's not really anything I could just study, or like flashcards I could make. But yeah, I felt like I was wasting tons of time with it. It took, a couple of hours to do each time, or really like an hour and a half, 2 hours to do each time. And I was like, well, this sucks. So I was getting super pissed. I wanted to read you guys my reflection. And so basically what happened is I was like, all right, I gotta like unload this. So the first thing I did was I did a rant. Then I did a little decatastrophizing, and then I did a little problem solving. So I'll let you know. I'll show you what that means real quick. First off, here's my rant. I'm so fucking frustrated right now with the DevSlopes final exam. It's a pain in the ass and I hate it so much. I feel like I just wasted so much time on it these last 2 days. Probably a total of 4 hours trying to pass it and I keep failing. That's not true. I've spent like eight, probably 10 hours. Yeah, definitely 8. I'd say between 6 and 8, but I think 8. I try to pass it. It's a stupid exam and I don't care about it. Fuck. I feel like I'm making no progress and I have so much to do, but I can't get enough done nearly as fast as I need to. God damn it, why can't I work faster? And why don't I have enough time to get it all done? I need to get the YouTube channel up and running, but I don't know how to grow one. I need to make my first app. I need to get my portfolio together. I need to post tutorial videos. I need to make my website. I need to work construction. I need to get my transcripts figured out for next semester and my classes finalized. I need to get housing set up. I need to finish multiple reflections. I need to buy a bunch of shit. I need to learn how to integrate ChatGPT into an app. I need to read a fuck ton of books. I need to get self-development content and coding content out on the internet. How the fuck does anyone start anything like this ever? There's so much to do in so little time. It is absolutely ridiculous. There's no time for social life. Everything is a distraction and everything is necessary. Okay, what I think I meant by that, and mind you, I wrote this whole thing in the span of like 2 minutes. I just fucking went, and I think I was just getting like mad stressed out with the amount of just shit there is to do when you want to start an online business. And like I said, like I want to start an online, like a YouTube channel, but I don't know how to grow a YouTube channel. I don't know how to make like these great thumbnails, and making good thumbnails takes a ton of time. And then actually learning how to like grow a YouTube channel takes a bunch of time. And then you also have to make the content for the YouTube channel. And then you actually have to learn everything that is going to go into making the content. You have to learn how to make good content. Then you have to learn how to market yourself. There's so much, and that's just developing the YouTube channel. Then there's, you need to have a presence on Twitter. You need to have different funnels to your main like online presence. So you have your Twitter account, your Instagram account, your TikTok account, all of these things linking back to your main account. Then you've got to have your website. None of that is even getting started on the actual business itself, the product that you're going to sell, and there's actually making that product. And then there's learning all the skills that you need to learn in order to make that product. So it's just, there's so much to do. It's ridiculous. And obviously, since I'm a full-time engineering student, there's a little bit of a time constraint on me to finish all these things before I get back to engineering in I think late August. So it's like I feel like I just gotta get all this crazy shit done in like 2 or 3 months before engineering starts to get going again, and I have to dedicate most of my time to that, and then do little bits of work on the online business during that time. And then like I was saying, I need to learn how to integrate AI into an app, which is a whole ass skill that I don't even know, and there are tons of YouTube videos that I need to work through to figure out, okay, what do I actually need to learn, what do I need to know, and I actually gotta go learn those things. So there's a lot. I was feeling overwhelmed as fuck, and I think obviously you see I start with like I sat down just to like rant, and I started up here with just like, hey, this DevSlopes final exam is really pissing me off. And then why is it pissing me off? Because I'm not getting it done fast enough. Why am I not getting it done fast enough? Or why is me not getting it done fast enough pissing me off? Well, it's like deeper down, I'm freaking out about all this shit that I gotta get done. Anyway, I'll finish reading this rant real quick. I need to make good thumbnails. I need short form content. I need to clarify each business idea I've had and narrow it down to the best one. I need to figure out how to market whichever option I choose. I need to edit all of my videos. Making tutorials takes way too long and doesn't really go anywhere. How the fuck am I going to do all of this while I am working construction? And how am I going to get this off the ground before school starts? What if I am just wasting my time? God damn it, god damn it, god damn it. I need to be done with that damn exam by now, but I've wasted literal days on it. Fuck. Why do I actually need to learn? What do I actually need to learn? What should I not worry about? So that's kind of going to like social media marketing, all these different skills. There's just so much to learn, especially when you start getting down the rabbit hole of online business, online content creation, growing a YouTube channel, and and that's not even scratching the surface of when you start getting into programming, coding, and everything you need to learn that. Because while I just finished this like iOS development course, that kind of narrowed my focus and guided me. But now that that educational journey is essentially done, I just have to do that final exam. It's like the gates have just opened up, and I'm like, oh fuck, like where do I go next? Fuck, what do I actually need to learn? What should I not worry about? Should I really be going down this AI rabbit hole? That was another thing I want to. So something I want to focus on is integrating like natural language processing, artificial intelligence programs like ChatGPT into apps, because I think that's just a new thing that's available right now. It's a huge market. Everybody wants apps that can do that. It's flashy, it looks good. But in addition to that, I think that's going to be one of the most high value skills you can develop right now, because app development is always a high value skill. Coding as a whole is going to be high value for a long time, but being able to leverage AI to be a better programmer is going to make you much higher value. And then being able to integrate AI like ChatGPT into apps and into software is what's going to make you exceptionally high value, and that's where you're going to make millions. So I'm kind of looking at this like, okay, I should probably go into this AI rabbit hole if I want to make millions, because that's where the millions are. That's the next big industry of opportunity. And I'm in a very happy position to be able to take advantage of that. Essentially, AI is the next industry. It's a huge industry of growth, a huge industry of opportunity. If I can develop that skill, I have a pretty decent avenue to starting $1 million business. And there are lots of ideas in that realm. One of the main ones I'm looking at is developing software where companies can put in all of their company's data and information, and they can put that into an AI, and the AI can read through all of that data, and they can go in and ask the AI questions, and then the AI can immediately answer these questions without the user having to go through and search through hundreds, and possibly for a lot of companies, thousands and thousands of documents to find the information they're looking for. And then the AI would also have all of this data and would be able to answer more advanced analytical questions, where you might say like, we're looking at starting this project, give us a rough budget, and it can go back and look at all of your previous projects, look at the factors involved, the resources they demanded, and say, okay, here's a rough budget for your next project. Obviously, then they would have to go and do more detailed budgeting, but you can get rough numbers, and getting rough numbers that fast is hugely valuable. Anyway, the last sentence, will I really be able to make a construction AI? Should I be spending my time on that, or will it go nowhere? So that was just me kind of complaining and bitching and moaning and questioning myself. But yeah, so I would, since I grew up in the construction industry, what I'd probably do is focus in on creating an AI to do that for construction companies. And then I would train that AI on construction data as a whole. That way it's optimized for construction companies to put their data in and get a lot of use out of it. Yeah, so it was a little bit of just like a frustrated rant. I think we'll all end up frustrated at some point, especially if you want to go down this path. But I think it's important to realize, okay, look, I'm stressed. I got a lot that I need to do. A lot of times we'll be doing our work and we'll just like start getting super pissed off. What you got to do is take a deep breath, go, okay, hey, this isn't worth it. I like that idea that the emotions that you default to now are the same emotions that you'll default to when you're successful. So something that I thought about before I wrote this rant, you got to do your rant. But while I was like doing my work and I was just super pissed off and I was in a terrible mindset, I was just thinking, the thought occurred to me, okay, look, this might be frustrating and irritating, but the reality is that I'm going to have bigger irritations in the future, and I don't want to face all of those irritations and all of those difficulties and all of those inconveniences and frustrations with this level of anger and this level of emotion. So I sat down, I did a rant. That's a good way to just get that emotion out there. Then the second thing is just decatastrophize. So I went, all right, basically I wrote like a paragraph or two where I was like, all right, what's going well in my life? All right, look, I passed my classes last semester. I literally thought I was going to fail all of my classes. I had 2 weeks to get my shit together and get those classes together. And at the beginning of those 2 weeks, I was on track to failing all my classes. I was in a fat rut. I was depressed. I was just not having it. And I got some sunrise runs in, and I followed the get out of a rut process. And I sat down, I started studying, and honestly, like, with the classes that I was taking, differential equations with linear algebra and circuits, it's like I was taking another class too, but with those two, it's like, man, even with 2 weeks and like 8 to 12 hours of studying every day, I was still pushing it whether or not I would pass. And I did, but I passed by the hair of my chinny chin chin. So that was hugely stressful, but I passed and I'm on the other side, and it's like, man, I could be in such of a worse position now if I hadn't grabbed life by the balls 2 weeks before finals and, sat down, cranked that shit out, adopted the right mindsets, the right attitudes, and gone for it. And then let's see what else. So I was like, hey, I passed my exams. If I didn't pass my exams, I'd be in a really shitty position right now, and I'm not in that shitty position. On top of that, this is work that I enjoy. I should be thankful that I've got this work that I can enjoy. Ultimately, it's 2 days that I've spent working on this exam. It's not ideal. I would have liked to crank it out in a couple of hours. I really thought I could have cranked it out in a couple of hours. And I honestly think when I go back to it, I will be able to crank it out in a couple of hours. But it kind of got out of hand over the last 2 days. A lot of my being irritated made it harder and harder to do it in a reasonable amount of time. So I went, hey, you know what? Tasks, sometimes I'm going to think that they'll go by quick and they'll take a long time. Other tasks, I'm going to think that they're going to take a long time. And I've had projects like this where I sit down, I think it's going to take a couple of days. I crank it out in a few hours. I got to be thankful for that shit. When things take longer than expected, you just got to accept that that's a part of life and move on. And that's kind of what decatastrophizing is. You look at the things that are going well in your life, and then you look back at the thing that's problematic and you go, okay, hey, it's not that bad. It might suck, it might be a little frustrating, but that's all it is. Let's put it to the side and move on. So after that, I looked back at that root problem, which was, holy shit, there's so much I need to do. There's so much to get done. I don't want to do all of this. And I said, okay, and I did a narrow your focus reflection where I went, okay, what are the highest priorities right now, given the amount of time that I have? And so I just wrote down, okay, three things I can focus on. One, the final project is going to take a lot of time and is a very valuable next step. That literally is one of the next steps. The exam is one next step. The final project is another next step. I said, okay, let's focus on doing the design phase of the final project while I'm working construction these next 2 weeks. Let's not try to get a crazy amount of shit done. Let's just design a good final project. Let's outline it, figure out what kind of data structures I'm going to use, figure out the underlying architecture, figure out what the UI might look like, brainstorm some ideas for the actual app itself, and choose an app idea that is going to have high leverage value, I think is the best way to put that. So what I mean is, I talk about all these ideas that I might have for apps that I might want to make one day in the future. All of those are going to require some base skill. One of those base skills is integrating an LLM or large language model such as ChatGPT, is integrating that into an app. So I'm not going to try to create some killer app that integrates ChatGPT and it's super cool and super fascinating. It does all of this and it does all of that. My final project, the goal, is going to be simply to take ChatGPT, put it into an iPhone app, give it some custom knowledge base to be able to search and query and respond to user inputs. Super basic, super easy. I might not even go into fine tuning, which is where you train the AI model on a more niche topic. And these are kind of, I might talk more about this later, but basically there are two ways you can customize a large language model. The first is with a custom knowledge base, which is basically where you give it a bunch of information and you say, hey, I'm going to ask you questions, search this information and give me an answer from that information. Kind of reword it, or take little bits and piece them together, make them flow well, and then articulate them to me. That's super useful. You could imagine just giving it a book and then asking questions about that book. ChatGPT can already kind of do that, but it doesn't have all the details. Again, if you write your own essay, you type up an essay, you can put it into ChatGPT, and it can kind of do that for you. This would be doing that on a larger scale. And then the second way is fine-tuning, where you basically take your AI model and you give it a series of prompts and then a series of responses, and it learns how to give responses that are more and more representative of the responses that you gave it. So that's a bunch of bullshit. That one's like a lot harder to do. But yeah, so I said narrow your focus. And so the first thing that I'm going to focus on is just what are some app ideas, and which app idea is going to be the most useful. And I'll talk about that in the next video, because this one's gone a lot longer than I had anticipated. Second thing is just read this book. I came here with like 4 books. 2 of them are fucking useless. I don't know why I'm reading them. There's a trap that's very easy to fall into, that I start to fall into, which is you start reading books just to kind of get books under your belt. And there were 2 books, Anabasis and Leadership in War. I have no need for the knowledge in either of those books. Leadership in War is not a great book. I got about halfway through, so I'm just going to bail on it. I'm not going to waste my time finishing a book that isn't giving me value. Anabasis is a book about Xenophon's journey into Persia, and, well, the Greeks' journey into Persia. They tried to help with this whole Persian rebellion. The Persians kind of got shit on, and then they were like, balls deep in Persian territory, and they were like, oh, fuck. We got to get out of here, and their leaders were killed. So they looked over at this historical philosopher Xenophon and were like, yo, you got to lead us out of here. And so Xenophon just wrote a story about how he guided the Germans out of, or the Athenians out of Persian territory. I don't know where the Germans came from. I'm very tired and talking is getting very difficult, but that's a cool book. I want to read it at some point, but it's useless right now. This is the only book I really need to read right now. There's another book by Dale Carnegie I'll probably read on the plane home, but $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. This is something useful. It's business oriented. It's been recommended to me by a lot of people, both on YouTube and friends of mine in real life. And I love Alex Hormozi. I think he's a really smart guy. I think he's, great business strategy, and great kind of value system and personal ethic. I really respect him, and I'm really enjoying his book. So I'm going through reading a chapter, and then after I finish a chapter or a section, I've got flashcards going where I just write down the main topics, take some notes, and then I can go through and re-examine a lot of the key ideas after I go through this book. So a little bit more of a deep dive in this. Most of the other books I've read this summer, or actually every other book I've read this summer, I kind of just sped read, where I just opened it up, audiobook, cranked through, highlighted, put it away. And that's great when you want to get through quantity, but I want to deep dive into this. So that's the second thing I'm working on. Third thing is don't worry about pumping out tons of content. That's another thing. Look, YouTube is great, but all I'm doing right now is just trying to get some content onto there. There's no need to grow some crazy successful YouTube channel further down the road. If I want to pump some money into it, if I want to hire somebody to do thumbnails, if I want to expand on it, I can do that. But for now, I just got to get a little bit of content on there, get a little bit of momentum going. Over time, I'll start to get better at the skill of making videos, and I'll get better at identifying, kind of find my niche, and I'll figure out, okay, what videos do I actually want to make, and what videos do people actually respond well to. So making a good YouTube channel, that's further down the road. For now, I'm just throwing shit out there, seeing what happens. I was talking to my buddy a couple of days ago, and we're talking about like personality traits, and we were like, a good question is, are you more of a aim down sights shooter or a fire from the hip kind of shooter? And I think you got to be a little bit of both. But I think my overall strategy for YouTube right now is just fire from the fucking hip. I'm going out there. I got my ammo. I got my gun. I'm just shooting shit. I'm gonna see where it lands. I'm gonna see what happens. But it'll get out there, and it'll be good. It'll be good. Anyway, that was my I don't know, my rageful rampage due to this exam. Basically, look, if you're going on this journey, I'm on this journey right now. I knew this would come eventually, kind of, but I ran into it. I got there. There was a frustration. I went, fuck this. You kind of get into this like moral headspace where it's like, fuck this, because I want to achieve these great things, and these great things are good, and so I'm going to be angry towards this thing that's standing in my way. But the reality is, you don't want to fall back onto anger as one of your default emotions. So as soon as you're running into that, it's okay to be like, that's going to happen. You're going to have frustrations. When you encounter that frustration, what you got to do is say, hey, this is just a part of life. Rant about it. Once you're done ranting about it, decatastrophize it, bring yourself back to kind of a rational state of mind, and then problem solve. Seems like a pretty good system. I just kind of came up with that. It's what I did yesterday. I didn't really do that intentionally, but maybe I'll make like a reflection sheet or something that you guys can do, but probably not, because I have enough to do already. But check the description. If it's in there, great. That means I got around to it. But also you can make that on your own pretty fucking easily. Next time you're pissed off, rant, decatastrophize, problem solve. 1, 2, 3. There you go. You got it. Bye.